Tornadoes and tornadoes are considered the most dangerous natural disasters for all living beings. The tornado has been thoroughly studied. But no one has yet learned how to escape and pacify this disaster. According to scientists, tornadoes occur every year and their number is steadily increasing. The reason for this may be constant climate change, as well as the deterioration of the planet's ecology. Every creature and object that gets there, after a while, will be thrown from a huge height and in a completely different place. Also, objects that have flown from a tornado are of great danger. Even houses are not protected. Strong air currents can easily demolish a building, dragging a lot of debris inside. What does the word tornado mean? Photo of a tornado. Most of all the phenomenon occurs in North American territories. It is from there that disasters take their name. In Spanish, tornado means revolving. Wind vortices became known as tornadoes by the Spanish colonists who arrived to conquer new territories. In the territories of Russia, the phenomenon was called a habitual tornado. The word comes from the Old Russian, smerch, or smrch, which means a cloud. Thus, the concepts of tornado and tornado are synonymous. They describe the same phenomenon. An interesting fact. Once a case was recorded when a heavy train weighing 80 tons was carried away by a whirlwind. The whirlwind pulled him 40 meters off the tracks. What is a tornado and tornado? The beginning of the formation of tornadoes. Basically, tornadoes occur in thunderclouds. They are atmospheric whirlwinds that stretched from heaven to earth. Air masses are in constant motion, forming a funnel that sucks in any object in its path. The internal currents of the tornado are attracted to the surface, while the external ones rise up. Thus, inside the tornado, the air is highly discharged. All objects that fall inside a tornado can explode from the simultaneous impact of different pressures. Basically, such objects are considered closed buildings. The tornado spares no one. Characteristics of a tornado. Tornado types of tornadoes can vary in shape. They come in the form of a cone, a barrel, even a glass. Also noticed a tornado in the form of a horn, hourglass and cords in constant motion. Despite the variety of forms, tornadoes usually look like a funnel that swallows everything in its path. An interesting fact: sometimes tornadoes can carry away a wide variety of objects. After that, the famous rains of frogs, fish and insects appear. The duration of the existence of a tornado can last both a few minutes and whole hours. The pressure in the center and along the periphery varies up to 200 mb. The tornado moves extremely quickly. Speeds up to 1000 km per hour. Despite the randomness of occurrence, the phenomenon can move along certain lines. In the north of the planet, counterclockwise, and in the south along it. The tornado destroys territories located in a diameter equal to 3 km. Tornadoes can be of various colors, which are determined by the location of the sun, humidity and illumination of the areas nearby. Tornadoes appearing in front of the sun have a darker color, while if the sun is hidden behind the observer, the tornado looks much lighter. In humid air, the outline of a disaster is much clearer. The most dangerous are the phenomena that occur in a dry climate, since they cannot be immediately noticed. Only when any objects get into the whirlwinds can it be seen, but then it is already too late. Sand and rain whirlwinds are even more dangerous. In heavy rains, they are also difficult to see. Where and when does a tornado occur? Map of tornadoes. Tornadoes are constantly appearing, over time they become more and more due to climate and weather changes. Now they are recorded not only in characteristic regions, but also in places where tornadoes have not been seen before. Basically, tornadoes occur in the United States. Up to 800 tornadoes occur there annually. Most houses have special underground shelters, where residents go down during a disaster. Many meteorological services record tornadoes on a daily basis. In 1965 alone, 37 tornadoes occurred simultaneously. An interesting fact: wind currents are so powerful that even light and small objects in a whirlwind can damage trees and buildings encountered on the disaster path. The average distribution of tornadoes in the United States for the year in spring and summer, the air temperature around is stable, maintained for several weeks at fairly high rates. It is in such places that tornadoes occur much more often. They are less common in winter and autumn. The most active months are May and June. Then a tornado occurs during the day and in the evening in severe thunderstorms and heavy rains. At night, tornadoes practically do not occur. Interesting. Climatic zones of the world, classification, map, description of climate types, photos and videos. How does a tornado occur? Tornadoes are atmospheric whirlwinds that develop in thunderclouds and cumulus clouds. Wind currents quickly descend to the ground in a large column. The width of the pillar at the base can be up to 400 meters in diameter. Sometimes land-based tornadoes can be as wide as 3 kilometers, while on the water, as a rule, no more than 40 meters. Scheme of a tornado: in order to form this powerful whirlwind, very special weather conditions are needed. This requires a collision of two air streams, cold and warm. Suitable conditions for this are created in warm latitudes, subject to the presence of large plains, on which air streams accelerate without encountering obstacles. The optimal conditions for the formation of tornadoes occur during thunderstorms, when heavy rainfall occurs. Strong rain flows can hide the process of funnel formation from view. Then a tornado becomes an even more dangerous phenomenon, because it appears completely unexpectedly. The pressure at the top and bottom of the tornado is very different. It is for this reason that things that fall into the epicenter are simply torn apart. Tornadoes and tornadoes are caused by the meeting of warm, moist and cold, dry air. When they collide, an active release of heat begins. The heated air currents tend upwards, a large discharged area is formed. External objects begin to be drawn into the rarefied atmosphere inside the tornado along with warm and cold air. Gradually, a kind of funnel is formed. In this funnel, the air moves at great speeds. It can reach speeds up to 1300 km per hour. As a rule, eddies move at a speed of about 60 km per hour. However, some giants of the past moved at speeds up to 500 km per hour. The mechanism of formation of a tornado. The forms and sizes of disasters are also not the same. The most common whirlwinds are whip-shaped, sometimes appearing as jagged lush clouds above the Earth's surface. The latter consist not of one, but of several vortices simultaneously. Once a hurricane was seen, consisting of 8 funnels at the same time. When volcanoes erupt, fiery whirlwinds can be encountered. They are extremely dangerous, spreading fires for several kilometers around the epicenter. Sand whirlwinds are often found in the desert, which are also dangerous for people. An interesting fact: sometimes buildings and structures do not collapse under the influence of wind. But in general they are transferred to another place or simply turn in the other direction on their foundation. Stages of the existence of a tornado and a tornado. The origin of a tornado. A tornado is born from clouds, which first take on a funnel shape, then lower the funnel down to the ground. The funnel can have a different shape. There are options in the form of an hourglass, a column or a pillar, a whip. One or more funnels may appear at the same time. During hurricanes, tornadoes can appear in dozens, because at this time ideal conditions are created for them. The first harbinger of the approaching celestial funnel is a sharp, sudden cooling of several degrees. Further, you can see the approaching column, sucking in air and everything that meets on the way. Experts point out that much in the appearance of the funnel depends on its contents, the color. Shape and even sound largely depend on the materials collected by the funnel. And the most diverse objects can fall into the funnel after the end of the natural disaster. They return to the ground again. These are extremely interesting precipitation, given that a tornado is able to lift a car, or even a house. That the direction of their rotation depends on the hemisphere, as, indeed, water funnels when draining water in a bathroom or sink. In the southern hemisphere, everything rotates clockwise. And in the northern hemisphere, vice versa, counterclockwise. Classification of tornadoes. Scientists distinguish several types of atmospheric vortices. Types of tornadoes. Tornadoes in the form of a whip or whip, which are mainly observed above the sea surface. They are smooth on the outside, narrow and sinuous. Meeting with such eddies is fraught with serious problems. Whip-like whirlwind. Blurry whirlwinds that look like clouds above the ground. They are constantly spinning, can destroy large areas. Extremely dangerous due to the fact that in such a cloud there is not one funnel, but several at once. They can cover huge areas. Blurred whirlwind. Compound whirlwinds of several whips at the same time. They revolve around a large central funnel, are extremely dangerous, like the previous species. They destroy not one, but several territories at once. Composite tornado. Tornadoes appearing from behind volcanoes in the form of a fiery column. Spread fire to nearby areas, create fires. Fire tornadoes. Water tornadoes are dangerous because there is nowhere to hide in the sea. The crew of the ships can only hope for a favorable outcome. Waterspouts. Earth tornadoes are very rare. They are caused by serious natural disasters like earthquakes. They are thin, like bundles. In the center of the pillar, clods of soil meander, and below is a thick mass of mud. Snow tornadoes appear due to blizzards and strong blizzards. Snow tornado. Sand tornadoes are a separate species found in desert areas. Sand tornado. Sand tornado arises in an unusual way. It is formed not in the clouds, but near the earth. The sand is very hot under the sun, after which air currents begin to gather in this area. The sand begins to gradually rotate. A large voluminous funnel is formed, which can exist and move for a long time. Classification of tornadoes and tornadoes according to the strength of the damage factors. Tornadoes are also classified according to the strength of the damage factors. Weak. Do not destroy very much, develop a low speed, up to 30 meters per second. Sometimes the roofs of buildings are damaged, small trees break. Moderate. Up to 50 meters per second. Destroys the roof of houses. Can break cars, causing significant damage, up to 70 meters per second. They can overturn cars, break small houses, pull trees out of the ground. Strong. Develop speeds up to 90 meters per second. They destroy large buildings, lift cars, small trains, ships into the air. The strongest. Develop speeds up to 115 meters per second. can carry and destroy large structures, throw cars, destroy large objects. Super strong, develop speeds up to 145 meters per second. Destroys all objects, can carry large trains over considerable distances. Destroying everything, moving at a speed of 145 meters per second. Why is a tornado dangerous for people? The danger of a tornado for people: the contact of the vortex and the Earth occurs very quickly. After a tornado, nothing remains intact. The largest whirlwinds caused irreparable damage, they destroyed entire cities. Few survived, falling into the epicenter of the disaster. Not only small buildings are destroyed. Brick buildings often collapse. It is difficult to rescue people from under large rubble. What is inside a tornado? Scheme of a tornado. Inside a tornado, in the center is an area of calm with low atmospheric pressure. The air is rarefied there, so breathing is very difficult. Inside are vertical air currents. A tornado can suck up even the most well-attached objects. This is due to the fact that the turbulence of the vortex is extremely high. And the speed is constantly changing throughout the entire trajectory of movement. An interesting fact: few people were able to stay alive, hitting a tornado. They were not even touched by objects around. People say that inside the tornado it is hard to breathe because of the rarefied atmosphere. But in the center of the column there is a zone of relative calm. What is the difference between a tornado and a tornado? There is no difference between a tornado and a tornado. This is the same natural disaster, named with different words depending on the regions of the planet. Sometimes you can hear that tornadoes form over water, and tornadoes on land. In fact, there is not much difference. The phenomena are similar. In Russian-speaking countries, it is customary to call atmospheric whirlwinds tornadoes, from the Old Russian, smerch, and in America. A disaster is called a tornado, from the Spanish dialect. The tornado phenomenon is very interesting. Mankind has studied it thoroughly. The streams of air gather in spirals, forming an amazing phenomenon.